Want to get started here. It's about 6:31. Um, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen temporarily. All right. So I'm gonna be doing these Zoom calls each week at 6:30 on Thursdays. Um, and I appreciate you coming to these live. Again, if you're not here live, I am recording these calls and we'll host the recordings on my Facebook page, on my website, which I'll share with you a little bit later. And then also they're going to be on YouTube. So if you can't catch me live and you see a topic you're going to be interested in, then you can always tune in later. All right. So tonight's topic is called Retain Your Gain. Basically talking about protecting if you've got things like 401ks, IRA money, money in the bank, what have you. We're talking about retain your gain, how to protect what you've worked so hard for. And, I was thinking this morning as I was thinking about tonight's Zoom call, this show tonight may fall on deaf ears because the stock market has been on a tear. I remember not that many years ago, I think only 5 or 6 years ago, the Dow Jones was at 35,000, and everybody was like, "Whoa, this is unprecedented." Well, now it's over 50,000. In fact, today I just looked up on my phone, the Dow Jones is over 52,000. And depending on who you listen to, I think our economy is doing well. There's always going to be volatility and things happening, but the market's been on a tear. And so for some of you guys, it might be real simple for you. You may be like, I'm gonna just ride it out. The market's been good, historically speaking. It's been doing good, and so you may be in that camp, and that's fine. But for others, and I talk to these people every week, there's a lot of people that aren't comfortable with. We all have our different risk levels, and some people aren't quite as comfortable putting their money at risk in the market. And the market's been on such a tear for so long, it's almost hard to almost remember that money is at risk. And again, I'm not trying to scare you. I think deep down you know this, that one bad year can wipe out years of growth. And so if you've ever had any of these questions, if any of this has ever crossed your mind, if you do have a lot of money in the market, in the stock market, tonight's live call is for you. And let me be clear, I'm not predicting anything. I'm not trying to say, oh, the market's going to be crashing, or no, don't. I'm not saying that. I hope it continues to go up. Hope our economy continues to just continue to go up. What I'm talking about is helping retirees create a safety net. It's the whole reason I wrote this book years ago, Protecting Your Retirement. I never try to compete with the stock market. I've got some friends who are financial advisors and they do a very good job. What I do is help folks take a portion of what they have, and a portion may be 10% of what you have in savings or your nest egg, 20%, 30%, 50%, whatever, and create a safety net. Um, and by the way, this is not my strategy. I mean, this has millions of people take advantage of what I'm getting ready to share with you tonight. Um, Billions of dollars go into these strategies every year. Billions go into these strategies. So it's not like I'm trying to talk to you about something brand new. These are things that many people are doing. I'm looking here at my notes. You might be wondering why I'm looking over here to the side. Also, this is not an all or nothing. I'm not trying to say, hey, change everything you're doing. No, that doesn't make sense. It's all kind of about balance, having some here, maybe in the growth, and it's going to make a little bit more sense when I share my presentation with you. This is a pre-recorded presentation I did earlier, and I think it's about 15 minutes long. But anyway, if you've ever wondered about this, if you've ever wondered, hey, is there something that can help me sleep better at night, enjoy retirement, I think this presentation tonight is for you. You're in the right place. So let me share my screen. Okay, very good. So again, I've created this thing, I call it the Optimized Retirement. If you'll go to my website or my Facebook page, I have a couple videos that explain what I mean by the Optimized Retirement. It's basically taking your, protecting your health, securing your wealth, and then we also talked about protected income. These are not all the components of everything involved in retirement planning, but I'm a believer if you can get just a few things right in your retirement life, it's going to go a long way protecting what you've built and give you that kind of that secure retirement that we're all looking for. Tonight's call is talking about wealth, securing your wealth. Okay. And so again, my name is Brad Rhodes. I'm what's called a certified financial fiduciary. All that really means is I always put the interest of my clients first. I've always felt like I've been a fiduciary, but I'm actually certified now that we always put the interest of our clients first when we recommend certain products or programs. This book here, a few years ago, it became an Amazon bestseller. If you do decide to ever meet with me, I give these books out. You come into my office, I give you one of my books. We've got what's called a safe money kit. And so again, some of this might fall on deaf ears with the economy, the market, the way it's going. But so, all right, so I'm going to play this video for you, this pre-recorded presentation, Retain Your Gain, How to Protect What You've Worked So Hard to Build. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you on the other side of the presentation with my conclusion. Okay, so today's presentation is called Retain Your Gain, How to Protect What You've Worked So Hard to Build. So what we're talking about is protecting what you've spent decades building, creating confidence in your retirement, not fear, and why retirement changes everything. For most of us, it's been ingrained in us to put money in our 401k accounts, IRAs, investments, years of saving and investing. The market has rewarded long-term investors. And that strategy has helped most people, help them build a nest egg. Most of us have spent our lives climbing the mountain. Here is a screenshot of the market. Now, I took this screenshot a couple of days ago. The market, of course, goes up and down. This is the S&P 500. Over the last 5 years, as you probably know, the market has been going up, been going way up. Here's the Dow Jones, well over 50,000 now. I remember years ago when it hit 35,000. Now it's over 50,000. The market has been on a tear. But now what? You're retiring or you're getting ready to retire. What I want to tell you guys is retirement changes the conversation. You're no longer building wealth. Now, obviously, you want to have your money to grow for you still, but the focus probably changes a little bit from building wealth to, now you're depending on what you've built. Yet, many people never change their strategy. Different rules. There's different rules between your working years and your retirement years. And I'm going to put myself in the conversation. I'm in my late 50s. I'm not planning on retiring anytime soon. But there is a difference between during your working years putting money into these accounts and then when you have to start drawing out of them, especially if you've got an IRA or 401k, you're going to be forced to draw out of that. And there are different rules in retirement for sure. Recovering from losses become harder. I tell my children, they're in their 30s, late 20s and 30s. I tell them to put their money in the stock market, that it's going to go up and down, but you've got time as your friend. When you're in retirement years, time is no longer your biggest advantage. And also income. We're going to get into this here in a little bit, but income now matters more than accumulation. I'm going to repeat that. Income now matters more than accumulation. And we'll get into this here in a second. So, no one knows when the market is going to go down. Markets have always experienced corrections. As of this recording, the recent valuations of the stock market are historically very high. So there's a valuation tool that many economists watch. Historically, this tool averages around 17. Today, it's above 40. One of the highest readings in history. That's a sign the market is expensive, overvalued. And when prices get stretched, it's often wise to make sure part of your retirement savings has a safety net. We're going to be talking about having a safety net. That does not mean a crash is coming tomorrow, but it does suggest the market is priced much higher than normal. Now, does this mean that you should sell everything and move to cash? I am not saying that. But if you've spent years climbing the mountain, building your retirement savings, this may be a good time to ask whether you should protect a portion of those gains instead of leaving everything exposed to the next downturn. Hope is not a retirement strategy. We all hope the market is going to continue to go up, of course. And again, I'm not predicting a crash. I don't want anybody to quote me. I've got money in the market. A portion of my savings or nest egg is in the market. So obviously, I want to continue to go up. I'm just going over some of these indicators that some of the financial experts are looking at. So the real question is not, should I get out of the market? The better question is, do I have a safety net if the market does not cooperate? Many retirees I speak with on a day-to-day basis have everything exposed. Now, some of my clients who are ultra conservative have their money maybe at the bank or in some low yielding savings or checking account, money market account. And I'm not trying to say do that, but many people I talk to have everything in the market, in the stock market. One market decline could be devastating. A lot of these people I talk to, they have no income plan. They have constant uncertainty. And again, I'm not predicting any type of market correction. That's not my job. But if the market were to drop 30% tomorrow, would that be a concern to you? Something, you just may want to ask yourself. Some of these people I talk to who have a lot of their money exposed to the market. And, we've been going through a time in the market where it's just been going up, up, up all the time. It's almost hard to imagine having a downturn. But I think in the back of people's minds sometimes they're thinking, gosh, I'm afraid to spend money. What if the market does go down? Sometimes people are delaying vacations, worrying about health care. Now,
I've been working with people for years and years with their Medicare, and there are some costs coming, some increase in costs coming that, again, we're going to be talking about income, how to increase your income. But a lot of people have a fear, what if I run out of money? So I want to tell you about a friend that I just recently worked with. Now, she had, when I met her, she had everything in the market. All right. And you may say, well, did you tell her to get out of the market? No, of course not. But what we did talk about is creating this thing we call a safety net. What we did, we took some of the money off the table. Now, after we've met and put some of these strategies together, she knows that regardless of what happens in the market, that money that we took out off the table, that money is protected from market declines. And we also created an income bucket that she can turn on whenever she's ready. I'm of the opinion that most of us are going to be needing more income coming in than we may realize. Maybe not the next year or two, but look, 8, 9, 10 years down the road, we're going to be needing more income coming in. I'm convinced of it. So now that my friend and I met, she has more choices that she did not have before. So this is what we did to kind of illustrate it. When we first met, she had all her money in what I call the growth bucket. And to be quite frankly with you, the market has been doing well for her. Her money was going up in value, but she did have concerns that, what would happen if the market took a downturn. So what we did, as I mentioned earlier, we repositioned. Instead of having one bucket, she now has 3 buckets. She still has her growth bucket. We kept a good portion of her money right where it was. But part of it we moved into what we call protected growth, and the other portion we moved into an income bucket. The protected growth bucket allows her to participate in the stock market, but with no risk of loss. So when the market's doing well, her account will go up. If the market were to take a downturn, her principal and interest are guaranteed at all times. That's pretty cool. And then again, we created this income bucket where that's going to be growing for that whenever she decides to, she can turn that thing on and create an income for her that will last the rest of her life to kind of combat these costs that we're going to be seeing coming up in our retirement years. So that's what she's got now. Growth bucket, protected bucket, and her income bucket. So I've got a question for you. Do you have a safety net in place? I'm going to just get right to it. Do you have a safety net in place where if the market were to take a downturn, a portion of that money is protected? Probably a good question for you. So, small changes. So in my life, when I have to make a change is kind of hard. I like to make small changes. So when I work with somebody, when I meet with them, we talk about where they are, and we talk about some of these strategies we're able to help folks with. We don't overhaul somebody's retirement typically. If they've got money in the market that's been doing well, I'm not the one to say, just move everything out of the market. I don't have a crystal ball. Hopefully the market's going to continue to go up. But what we do recommend repositioning a portion of the money, of your money out of the market to protect it against market loss. And also give you options, income options. Income bucket is what we call it. And a lot of times people say, well, I don't really need the income right now. The longer you can keep the money in that income bucket until you need to start drawing from it, the bigger that bucket grows, or the bigger the money in that bucket grows. One question I ask folks is, what would change if your bills were covered every month? Between the income bucket we create with your Social Security, wouldn't it be nice if you could get all your bills covered and also the expenses to come that might go up in price? What would that do? Would that kind of give you a peace of mind? Probably give you less stress, more confidence, freedom to spend more money, enjoy retirement. And that's what my client is able to do. I talked to her a couple of weeks ago. She said, "Oh yeah, I'm very happy with what we've done. I do feel like I'm sleeping better at night. So that makes me feel good." So my philosophy is, I do not try to beat the stock market. That's not what I do. What I feel like I do a good job with is helping my clients to prepare for the journey down the mountain. Again, retirement requires different thinking. Protection creates confidence. Coming down the mountain, climbing the mountain, and descending the mountain require different strategies. The growth has built your wealth. Protection will preserve it. My job is to help you get home safely. And I do love this slide. I think it's a good illustration of getting down the mountain safely. And it's not either or. Growth still matters, but protection also matters. Income matters. Having money coming in every month, that matters. Balance matters. We feel like every dollar you have should have a job. Growth, protection, income. What we do, hopefully, helps folks spend more confidently, maybe travel more, maybe help family, sleep peacefully. I talk a lot about sleeping peacefully at night. And the goal is not necessarily having more money. The goal is enjoying retirement. So I have a few questions for you as I'm wrapping this up. Number one, do you have a safety net? If you don't, I would encourage you to get one. Do you know your risks? I'm telling you, these last number of years in the stock market, some people have forgotten that the stock market can go up, but it also can go down. Would you like to sleep better at night? Okay, maybe you've been worrying about what's going on in the world, the economy, all these different things that are going. Would you like to sleep better at night? So as we get off of this presentation, I'm going to come back to you live. I am going to be offering you a complimentary retirement checkup, and we will get into that here when I'm done. Last thing I want to share with you, let me read this to you. We don't know when the next downturn will come, but we do know one will be coming eventually. The question is not whether the market will have another correction. The question is whether your retirement plan is prepared when it does. Look forward to seeing you on the other side. We will talk to you then.
Okay. Hopefully you got something out of that. All right. So every night that I do these, I'm going to open it up for questions. And I had a question, actually, somebody asked me earlier today. They basically are asking, this gentleman said, I'm 61 years of age. I'm still working. I have a 401k. What should I do? So my 2 cents is, especially if you're still working and your employer is still matching or putting money into your 401k as well, obviously, I would probably stay where you are and just let that keep growing. But now, if you do have a concern, once you turn 59 and a half, you can move money out of that 401k and let part of it grow if you so choose. So, but I'm always like, yeah, if market's been doing well for you, you can keep it there. Now that's been the experience of late with the way the market's doing. Now, if the market were to take a downturn, you might be like, oh, maybe I should have taken some off the table. But if you're still having money contributed matched, you may want to stay where you are. Also, somebody had asked where our office is. So right now I'm recording. I've got a office above my garage in my home. That's where I'm recording now. But we do have an office downtown Lexington. Now, I realize as people watch these recordings and I've got clients in different parts of the state, North Carolina and also South Carolina and a couple other states. But our office is in Lexington, North Carolina, 107 North Main Street. We're diagonally across from the police department. So that's where we are. And so I'll kind of wrap up here. Let me move to the next screen here. So we are offering what we call retirement checkups. It's a complimentary checkup. If you want to have a checkup, so to speak, the first step is really just to talk on the phone. If you will go to my website, bradrhodesfinancial.com, bradrhodesfinancial.com, and just click on the contact button. When you click on that button, it'll take you over here to our contact page. You can ask me to get in touch with you, but really, if you would just scroll down a little bit and set a time on my calendar, and you can just set it right up, and whatever the time, whatever day and time that is, we can just have a quick phone call. It is completely confidential and also complimentary. There's no cost. I would encourage you, if you have any questions about your retirement, concerns about safety, that's my forte. And again, if you're concerned about a market downturn, 20%, 30%, if we had a downturn, would that affect your retirement? Especially when you start having to take money out, like IRA RMDs, required minimum distributions. If you're having to take money out from your nest egg and the market's going down at the same time, and we have inflation, some people call that the triple whammy. Those three things combined can really hurt you. Again, if you come in to the office, we'll give you one of my books, the Safe Money Kit. Basically, I would just ask yourself, do you feel like you're taking too much risk? Does your risk tolerance match up with what you're doing? Some people I talk to, when you ask what their risk tolerance is, they say, well, I'm very, very conservative financially, yet they have a big portion of the money in the market. So would it make sense to protect a portion of it? We also give strategies, show people strategies how to create lifetime income. Generations ago, or a generation ago, a lot of people had pensions through their retirement. The pensions are almost a thing of the past. I still run across people who do have pensions, but fewer and fewer people have pensions. And so it's kind of on us now to kind of figure out how we're supposed to make this money last throughout our lifetime. So I'm looking here at my notes. Our belief is you've worked too hard to put your money at risk. To schedule a time, just click on that site. Let me see what else I got, if that's it. Yeah, and then next week, July 23rd, we're going to be talking about home health care. How to protect if down later in life you had to need some type of care. They say anywhere from 50 to 70% of retirees are going to need some form of care in their future, like in a nursing home or home health care. So that's going to be a very important topic. So I believe that's all I've got for you. Let me just double check here, see if I've got any additional questions. Hold on. I don't think I do. So again, you guys have a great night. Thanks for joining me. Again, if you don't have not been able to get on this call live, these are recorded. You can see them right on my Facebook. We will have the recording up by tomorrow. And you can also go to bradrhodesfinancial.com. You'll see one of the tabs is the Optimized Retirement. If you'll just click on that tab, it'll take you right to these recordings. Have a great night. See ya. Bye.